Hello! Laura Hamilton, Laura J. with Elysian, your leader, and loving it. I wanted to make this video because as your leader, I want to help you go for your dreams. Go for what it is you've come into this business in order to build, and to really help you stay focused on your intention. It is so easy to get lost in corporate competitions, is a great example. The incentive trips and all of that, which Elysian is having an incentive trip that is taking all of your performance in 2016, counting towards a trip to Thailand, January 8th to 16th. All expenses paid for 1 or 2, depending on your ability to meet the requirements of sharing the program, the opportunity, getting people to join your team, my team, building this, spreading the word about Elysian. Especially because it's during the pre-launch phase. It doesn't even go live until 2017. And wouldn't you love to say that you got on the surfboard as soon as you saw the tide rising? You know, it's all about when you find the tide. It's not that the tide isn't there. It is. It's always there. It's just as to where you're looking, where your focus is going. And what I can tell you is that this tide is one you want to ride from start to finish. I have no idea what the future holds. And I am literally I've only been aware of Elysian for 3 days now. I'm still waiting on my products. So when I am doing these videos for you, it is literally as somebody that understands the possibilities and opportunities that come with Elysian right now. And so I wanted to make this video about an incentive trip that I actually won with the last MLM that I was involved with, and the circumstances around my winning it. Because as a new member of England, when I moved there in 2012, March 2012 I moved there, and then in November, at the end of November, I found this opportunity with NYR Organic, an organic skincare product company that has spectacular products. It was in the US, but the UK and US legs, or however they structured their MLM, weren't compatible. So I couldn't recruit in the US, and I couldn't recruit in Canada either. And I put a year into developing that business before I decided that ultimately I needed to focus on working on getting my empowerment stuff out there in a bigger way, because I couldn't take that business with me, and I was in a country based on a relationship that wasn't always what one had hoped it would be. So I stopped with the MLM in England only because I couldn't bring it with me. And I want to own my business. I watched an entrepreneurial video earlier today about the DNA of an entrepreneur, and it was absolutely spectacular. I subscribed to his news feed after this, so I'll at least know more about this guy, and can't even tell you his name right now because I'm not consciously aware of it, but will tell you that he talks about happiness, fulfillment, and legacy being what people are working towards. That's the reason that we earn a paycheck. And he explained the origins of the 9 to 5 being with Ford. And Ford basically said, I need you for 30 years of your life. I need you from 9 to 5. You can have the rest. And we've just accepted that for the last 80 years without questioning it. When actually entrepreneurialism was the way that people did things before. Building a business with your spouse is the way that people did things before, and that was why divorce rates were so low, because there was a common vision, there was a common purpose. In my past relationship, while it ended, it was the greatest gift to me because we were both striving in a common direction. We both had a foundation on common ground, which is the personal and professional growth and development field. So we never ran out of things to talk about, and we were constantly challenging each other's thinking. We were constantly learning and growing together and as individuals. Ultimately, we grew apart for our own reasons, but it doesn't diminish the fact that it was an incredible experience to be able to be in a country where I knew no one. So I had to get out there and do it on my own. And I was resentful as hell because I had to reprioritize what I was trying to do and build for myself in order to learn a new culture and integrate into it while balancing a partnership that was live-in with 2 bonus children in the mix and an ex-wife. It was a whole lot to get used to, plus being in a country where I knew no one. I had to get myself out there, and there were so many stories of how the gemstones that I brought home, whether those be in literal gemstones, crystals, which I love and will actually be offering as part of what I do at some point, to more on that later. Too much going on to tell you all at once. But with the gemstones, I'm also talking about my friends. I found a girl that knows so much about crystals and gemstones that she doesn't even need to read the book, even though she still will, because she's always open to learning more about crystals. I've got a girlfriend that knows all about fairies and shamanism. I've got another one that makes art out of crystals, nutritionists, body talkers, Reiki masters, massage healers that have such a gift. When I do a retreat, I will pay her to come and participate and then also massage our participants as her contribution to the business trip, because she is such a blessing, and her name is Rita Davies. And if you are in Worcester, England, Healing Touch is how you find her. You will want to, because she has magic hands. Gemstones are people, places, things, memories, opportunities to grow. And back in 2013, right before I made the decision to shift my focus away from NYRO over to doing my own thing, I had a puppy with my ex that ended up getting out of the house and going behind a neighbor's place, and my ex and I were arguing about how to best train him and get him to recall. I'm not necessarily the best with boundaries when it comes with pets, because I think that they should have free domain to the extent that at least they understand that you mean it when you say you mean it. But I also learned a hard lesson that way for another time. But basically, I was there when my puppy got killed, and the whole experience was traumatic and tragic, and it was the hardest thing that I had really dealt with up until that point, except for when my other dog, the family dog that I grew up with, was killed on the road in front of me at my brother's 18th birthday party, which was also horrendously tragic, and all kinds of great things came out of a horrible thing. But where Wilson James was my puppy's name, and he was killed on November 23rd of 2013. And it was literally the qualifying period for this incentive trip that I'd been working on for 4 months or 3.5. I can't quite remember the specifics around it, but I was working my ass off, and I had got all the recruits that I needed. I had got all of the points that I needed. Almost. I had one party to do, which would have got me over the top on everything. I wouldn't have had to really be out of pocket at all in order to qualify. And the crazy thing was, it wasn't even guaranteed. There were 4 guaranteed places, but you had to do various things in order to get it. And I just went with the expectation that I was going to get it. There stopped being doubt until my puppy was killed, and I basically I had my closing party, the deal sealer, was scheduled for the day after he was killed. I was going to do it because I wanted it so bad and I didn't want to give up, but we had to go tell the kids that the dog had died, and I didn't want to not be there for that because they were my family, they were my children so far as I was concerned. And so I canceled the party, and I really lost faith. I lost hope that I would be able to actually qualify. And I resigned to having done as best I could. I did better than what I would have done if I hadn't been pushed. And I was willing to just cry myself to the end of the month and then be disappointed that I hadn't qualified for something that I had worked so hard for. And let me be clear that the only reason I was actually going for this 3-day spa trip incentive to the Vanderbilt Grace Spa Hotel in Rhode Island, Boston area, the only reason I was going there, it was in January, which it's cold over there, and being Canadian, there's no way I want to go further into the cold when I'm happily over in England, where at least the winters are a mild spring. So I only went for this incentive because I wanted to go and see my family. I would see my family twice a year on either side of the John Maxwell Team Certification Conference. I'd go home on either before it for a couple weeks, or 10 days, 7 days, whatever I could get. And then I would alternatively come at the back end of it. And this way, if I could actually get them to pay the 2 long ways, I just had to pay the difference to get back to Canada and see my family for a couple weeks. And then I could say I paid my own way home because I won an incentive. So that was my intention. And then ended up almost resigning. And then it was I had paid like £50 to do an event, and I hate wasting money. And so it ended up that my ex came with me to this event, which was a fashion show, and nothing came of it except I was doing the stand next to a woman that was in another MLM business. And I was showing her the products. I believe in the products. I still love the products. And the company, their MLM, my upline is the best MLM leader that you can get under. So I was learning from the best. I was plugging in. Everything was good. I was participating in all the leadership development training programs that there were so I could get as much knowledge as I could to be able to do the best that I could do. And then with my dog having been killed and grieving over that, I told her that I wasn't going for the challenge anymore. She said, "Laura, you can't not do it. You've got to do it." And her belief in me allowed me to say, "Okay, yes, let's." And I ended up doing it. So I had to call everybody. I emailed everybody. I got everybody in Canada. I got everyone that I had met that I knew in the UK that might buy some products. I bought loads of stock. I invested a lot of money, a lot of time and effort into qualifying, and I just did it. I literally, I was only over by a few points, and I had just enough with the requirements with getting recruits to join and then get activated. And I made it. Except I hadn't even considered that more than 4 people would qualify. Because it was painted that nobody, most people don't qualify for this. Most people fall short. Because average is what we mass produce. We mass produce average. People don't think they can go for it. They don't think they can get it, so they are not even going to try. That is average. And you, me, we are not average or even anything close. Average is a choice. And so my point in this is that I did everything I could and I qualified, and then I'm waiting on December 3rd of 2013 because the call is coming, and it's literally the 1-year anniversary from the day that I joined the company. So I'm waiting for the call because they said that we would get it, and I'm waiting and it's not coming and it's not coming and it's not coming, and then finally it comes. And Denise Bonner, the person responsible for notifying people when they're winners, she tells me, "Congratulations, Laura, you have won and qualified for the incentive trip. So congratulations. And I was like, oh my gosh, which one did I win? And then she did this. Well, you actually didn't. Hold up. What? So there were 7 of us that had qualified. And there were 2 that couldn't make it because of, I think one had a family, a child's birthday they weren't willing to miss out on. Priorities, good for you. Great for me. And then the other guy couldn't make the dates. So then there were 5 of us left. And they basically decided to create a 5th spot, which was what I got because I went for it and I held no less expectation than receiving it. I believed in myself so much the universe literally had to open a space for me. And I hope in my heart of hearts that you heard this, that you felt the significance of my story, of my testimony, to say, if you want to do this, do it. Don't try, just do it. Because something I heard once that will stick with me forever is that trying is failing with honor. There is nothing honorable about not doing your best. It's one of the 4 agreements in Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The 4 Agreements. Always do your best. Don't make assumptions. Don't take anything personally because it's never actually about you anyway. And the 4th one you'll have to read for. There are certain principles and books that I've adhered to, and when I came across them, I paid attention, I held on to it, I worked with it. And that is how I am showing up to translate and relay my experiences to be able to serve you as your leader. To say that if you want to win the incentive trip to Thailand in January, work your ass off, but work smart. Figure out what you can delegate, what somebody else can do equally as well, but for less of an investment in your time or resources, and pay them to do it for you. If it's not going into abscondment, so that if you're doing it so that you are escaping, that is dysfunctional, and I will be teaching you about the polarities of creation and how to move out of dysfunction into function. Those are lessons that I've learned from my spiritual mentor, Andrea Hess, in the last year, since she first revealed her findings based on her own experience of actually creating this. She's an innovator, and I feel so blessed to have been her student for the last 3 years, because literally right around the same time as my dog had died and that the incentive trip qualifying call was coming, I went online because I wanted to learn how to read the Akashic records, because it was something that I had found very powerful in my own experience, and I wanted to understand how to give that experience to others and myself on a more regular basis. And I found Andrea Hess and Soul Realignment, and I took Soul Realignment Level 1 in December of 2013. I started it, and then I did Level 2 Soul Realignment, and then I did Manifesting Blueprint, and also Abundance Mastery, so a year worth of mentorship with Andrea, studying all of her products and having bi-weekly group calls. I have plugged in. I just literally finished her Law of Polarity class. When she sells something, people buy it because it's significant. And people like me buy it so that I can translate it to people that are ready to make a difference with people that make a difference. And that is what Elysian offers you. As your leader, join my Elysian team. Laura J. Hamilton, at your service. So excited to pass on the principles that have changed my life so that I love what I do and I get to bless you with my enthusiasm. I am so excited to meet you and be able to welcome you onto my team. go to the website below, laurajhamilton.alician.com/opportunity. Sign up. I can't wait to meet you and help you get to your next level. Namaste.